For high-performance building envelopes, air sealing is a very critical issue that has to be dealt with very carefully. So we're here with George Nesbitt of
Environmental Design Build.
Thank you. Who is the resident blower door expert in the Bay Area. And he's here to tell us a little bit more about blower door testing and what it takes to meet high-performance building envelope requirements.
So this is a blower door setup. This happens to be a fabric door. You can also buy hard panel doors. And it has a fan. And then usually we have some sort of an electronic gauge that tells us what pressure differences are and what the airflow is. So when we test for passive house, we have to both pressurize the house, blow air into it, and also depressurize, so suck the air out to measure the leakage. And we have to do this at a series of pressure differences, a minimum of 5 different pressure differences. So the fan has many different size rings because different houses leak different amounts. And when we're testing a passive house, we really need to get down to small size rings because we have very little leakage. Whereas in typical houses, we have the large ring or no ring. So it's the basic setup. So when we do the multi-point pressure depressure test, I typically hook my computer up and have the computer control the test. It makes it work a little bit better than doing it manually. So that's sort of the basic of setup and running a test. So
George, can you tell us a little bit more about the testing that you did for this particular house?
We did the first test on this house after drywall was up because in this house the ceilings are the air barrier, and rather than insulating the ceilings, doing the blower door test, and then drywalling the walls, Alan decided to drywall the whole house at once, and then we did the test. So when I first test, we did not meet the passive house target of 0.6 air changes at 50 pascals.
So what did you do to help find where the leaks were?
So what I did is I depressurized the house, so sucked the air out. I went around and felt around for where I could feel air coming in, and the place that the most air was coming in was at all the recessed can lights in the ceilings. So then I also actually then pressurized, and we went up into the attic and crawled around the attic, and we could feel air leakage coming out from between the top plates and the sheetrock. So we kind of identified where the big leaks were, and then I left the blower door with Alan and let him go around and seal things up and test it to make sure we were there. And then I came back down a couple months later, still in rough, and we tested it again and made sure we were below the target. And then we came back and did a final test in December.
And so what was the air leakage rate for this particular project?
So the passive house standard is 0.6 air changes at 50 pascals. And we came in just below that, so 0.59, 0.58.
Thank you very much, George.